Israeli Ambassador to the United Nations, Danon, joins me now. Mr. Ambassador, it's great to have you on the program. I don't know if you can say or if you know, but let me just ask you, do you have any knowledge of whether Israeli Defense Forces are participating actively in this second round of U.S. strikes against Iranian targets?
Thank you for having me, Major. I cannot confirm any participation of Israel. We fought together with the U.S., and if we need to have it again, we will be there. We will be ready to retaliate if we will be attacked. But at that moment, we count on the leadership of President Trump on this situation. But we are following very carefully the situation.
The President said today, and I raised this with our correspondent Ed O'Keefe, that he thought it might be possible that Israeli forces will soon withdraw from southern Lebanon. I've watched very closely the interviews that the Prime Minister has given. He's given no indication of that. Is there a disconnect there?
Absolutely not. There's great communication. The Prime Minister spoke with the President, and we are coordinating our efforts, and we are grateful for the mediation between Lebanon and Israel. And I want to remind you, Major, we signed a historic framework agreement with the Lebanese government, and we intend to implement this agreement. The timeline is not about dates, it's about the capabilities of the Lebanese military to mobilize their forces to areas that we will depart, and basically making sure Hezbollah is not coming back to southern Lebanon. In the long run, we have no intention to stay in Lebanon. We want to see the Lebanese military there and not Hezbollah, and I hope it will happen. We hear very good voices coming from Beirut, but now we have to see the implementation, if they're actually capable of delivering.
As you know, Mr. Ambassador, that's always been the difficulty, or the primary difficulty, the inability of the Lebanese government and its military to take on Hezbollah and to eject them from southern Lebanon. That seems to be the sticking point now.
Yeah, but now there's a difference. We pushed Hezbollah from those locations. So basically, they don't have to fight Hezbollah. We did the hard work, but they will have to come and take the position that we are gradually will evacuate. So it will be a gradual process. We will verify that they're actually capable of doing that, because the last thing we want to see is Hezbollah coming back to the border, threatening our citizens again. We don't want to be back where we were a few months ago.
Mr. Ambassador, explain to me and to my audience how it would be that Israel would withdraw from this security perimeter it has established inside Lebanon. What are the conditions in which that would begin to happen?
So, for the long term, the vision for us is to see the Lebanese military deployed on the border. If you look at the border between Israel and Egypt today, you have the Egyptian military, and we coordinate, the movements, and we coordinate everything with the military there. Same with the Jordanians on our eastern border. So that's ideally what will happen. We don't want to see UNIFIL, UN forces. I hear voices now of some of the European countries that they want to send troops to the region. We don't want them, and we don't need them. We want to deal directly with the Lebanese government, with the Lebanese military, and they should make sure that there is one military, one government, and they enforce the sovereignty of Lebanon over southern Lebanon. So once they are able to mobilize, take the positions, we will start to deploy our forces back to Israel, but we will verify that they are actually bringing their troops and not allowing Hezbollah to go back.
Mr. Ambassador, Rahm Emanuel, who's well known to Americans, lots of different political roles in our country, Chief of Staff to the President of the United States, Mayor of Chicago, Ambassador to Japan, gave a speech, as you know, today at the University of Tel Aviv, very critical of the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. I want to play you a soundbite from that and get your reaction. Please, sir.
Unconditional support has produced a prime minister who has presumed that his strategic interests would incur no political costs if he ignored America's concerns about settlements and sparked a regional war. Unconditional support has allowed you to deny food and medical relief to innocent Palestinians.
Mr. Ambassador, Rahm Emanuel also said in that speech that Israel has become a pariah and has lost all support in Europe and has lost domestic political support in America. I'd like you to evaluate what you heard from Rahm Emanuel.
With all due respect, I know Ram very well, and I can tell you one thing. We share the same values, and we have the value of democracy and freedom. The Israeli people elected Prime Minister Netanyahu again and again to lead the nation, and they know what they are doing. So we have elections coming up in October. the Israelis will go to vote again, and it's up to them to decide who is the best leader for Israel. Not for Rami Emanuel and not for anyone else. It's for the people of Israel to choose their leadership. They will decide if they want to support Netanyahu or not. And I think everyone that come to Israel and enjoy the democracy we built should realize that that's part of democracy. Free elections, we're electing our own leaders ourselves.
Also, I want to ask you, Mr. Ambassador, about something that Rahm Emanuel said in his speech, kind of an over-the-horizon perspective. No longer a two-state solution, which he said is losing dramatically political support in the region, but what he called a 23-state solution. All the Arab League nations, and then a Palestinian state, an Israeli state, everyone interlocked economically, culturally. He said that would change the policy, change the politics, change the region. Any thoughts on that?
Well, it's a nice slogan, but practically speaking, after October 7th, we realized that we have Hamas radicals on our border, and we saw what they did to our people in the communities on October 7th. So, we are a peaceful nation. We want to normalize relationship with all the Arab countries in the region. We are successful with some of them. Hopefully, we'll see more joining the Abraham Accords. But practically speaking, you have two forces in the Middle East, the radicals and the moderate. With the moderate, we can speak about everything. With the radicals like Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, we have to fight them. There's no other choice. So you can be optimistic about the Middle East, but you have to face reality and make the distinction between the evil forces of radical Islam and the moderate voices of Islam that we welcome and we hope to move forward with them.
Very quickly, Mr. Ambassador, how do you evaluate the speed and likelihood of a disarmed Hamas in Gaza?
So President Trump's plan was very clear. There is a future for Gaza only after disarmament of Hamas. If Hamas will stay there, there will be no future in Gaza, regardless of the amount of money that countries are willing to invest there. So we are still waiting to see whether they will do it voluntarily. And if not, we will have to force them to disarm. We will not allow Hamas to stay in power in Gaza. And it's not only for our security, it's also about the future of the people in Gaza. They will not prosper if Hamas will stay there. They are suffering under the occupation of Hamas in Gaza, not the Israeli occupation, the Hamas occupation of Gaza.
Israeli Ambassador to the United Nations, Danon. I appreciate the time, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you.
Thank you, Major.